Hi everyone. Chapter 3 is a pretty fast chapter, so we're going to go over it. It's going to be covering sensation and perception. For this chapter, we're going to be focusing on our sensations and perceptions due to our experiment we're having today, actually. So sensation is the process whereby senses pick up your visual, auditory, and other sensory stimuli. It actually transmits the stimuli to the brain, and it's considered your raw material. With your five senses, we should all know our five senses. We've been using this since kindergarten. So we have our sight, so what I can see with my eyes. Your hearing, what can you hear with your ears? Taste, what do you taste with your tongue? Smell is I smell my nose. And your touch is what you can feel. So with your experiment today, you're going to be using your eyes, you're going to be using your taste, and your smell in order to figure out what type of Jelly Belly you are actually eating. So for your quiz, it is a process of your perception. So process is whereby the brain actively organizes and interprets your sensory information. So if you look at a Jelly Belly and it's green, you're like, this has to be lime. But then when you put it in your mouth, it's actually watermelon because our eyes can play a trick on us and our taste buds actually show us what it's supposed to be. Your smell is a big key component to your taste buds. So this provides you with the finished product. We have your absolute and difference threshold. So what is the softest sound you can hear and the dimmest light you can see? So experimenters do answer this by measures of the minimal perceptible amount of senses as known as the absolute threshold. So in your PowerPoint, you have a difference threshold photo on there. It shows just very different into the woman's different features. So it takes away certain shadings. It adds a little bit more hair color to it. And if you just looked at it, you might not see it according to your eye, but if you really, really look at it, you can tell that there is differences within it. It's like when you are lifting weights. This is your just noticeable difference. So when you're lifting weights, if you have a 10-pounder and you're doing some curls, and then you add 1 pound, are you really going to feel the difference in the weight? Probably not. But if you add 10 more pounds to it, so add 20 pounds on each side, you're going to be feeling the burn and you're going to actually feel that difference. So that's your just noticeable difference. It has to be 50% of the change for perception. Our eyes, we have a lot of different parts of our eyes with our movements. So the cornea performs your first step. This bends the light rays inwards, directs the light rays through the pupil. And for instance, for me, McKenna scratched me in the eyeball, and so it scratched my cornea. And at that point, the light hurt so bad, I couldn't really see very well because my eye was no longer bending and extracting like it was supposed to. So the iris contracts and dilates the pupil to regulate the amount of light that's entering into our eyes. This also occurs when we have our fight or flight stages. With the vision of the eye, which is your process of light, the lens focuses on viewed objects, so it directs that image to the retina. So this one's going to be on your quiz. So the lens is flattening and bulging action of the lens. Think of a camera. So when we do close up, then we go far away. Presbyopia is called, it's due to your age-related loss of your lens ability to change in shape and form. So it's kind of like when you go in and you get your eyes dilated at the doctor's office. Once they dilate it, you're like, ugh, I can see far away, but then when I look at my cell phone to read a text, I can't see at all. We had that happen just a little bit ago when I got my eyes dilated to check to see if I needed glasses, which I don't, which is a good thing. But my husband thought it was the funniest thing to keep on texting me over and over again. And even though I could see far away, when I picked up my phone, I couldn't see at all. So I was just texting blindly. I didn't know what the heck was going on at that point. We have 120 million rods and 6 million cones in each retina. These are light-sensitive receptors, cells that are located in the back of your retina. Color and perception. There is a slide on number 18. So all of my Instagram selfie people or my Facebook selfie people, whatever you're into these days, we always modify our pictures. Like, I think I really want to look tan today. So I'm going to change the color of my skin so it looks like I'm a little bit more tanner. Or I want to look like I'm fresh and bright, and so I'm going to change the hue and natural colors and alter the brightness of my picture so it looks like I'm a little bit more bright and awake. We do this all the time, especially with Snapchat. Snapchat's a crazy one these days. So your hue is the specific color perceived. So if I want to look tan, I might up the hue. Saturation is the purity of the color. Your brightness is the intensity of the light energy perceived as color. And with your theories of sensing color, we have your trichomatic theory, which is going to be on your quiz. There are 3 different types of cones in the retina. Each is sensitive to one of 3 colors. So we have blue, green, and red. If we are having issues with our color differentiates, it's called your color blindness. I know that there's usually 8% of males and 1% of females who experience a difficulty distinguishing colors. It's usually seen in males, like it pretty much says, and they have the inability to distinguish certain colors from one another. Okay, another one that's going to be on your quiz is your kinesthetic senses. This is located in parts of the body where it's information detected by receptors in your joints, ligaments, and muscles. So I want you to remember that kinesthetic senses are found in your joints, ligaments, and your muscle. This provides information about the body's position in relation to one another, movement of the entire body as its entire part. Okay, there's 3 different types of olfaction, olfactory, which is your smell, taste, and touch. So your olfaction is a sense of smell. It aids in survival. So if you smell kind of like a rotten egg smell outside your house, you probably know that there's a gas line leak and you need to call someone to help because that's your aids in survival. It influences emotional states. So like chalupa, my grandma used to make chalupa all the time. So when my mom made chalupa, it reminded me of my grandma because it has that certain sense. Next, you have your olfactory epithelium, which is 1-inch square patches of tissues, one at the top of each nasal cavity, and it contains your olfactory neurons. The one I want you to highlight and write down is your olfactory bulbs. This is the structures above the nasal cavity where smell sensations first register in the brain. So on your quiz, it might say, where do smell sensations first register in the brain? And you have to make sure you put olfactory bulbs. Smell, taste, so our gestation, which is your sense of taste. We have 5 primary tastes, your sweet, sour, salty, and your bitter. For touch, we have tactile, which tactile is touch. So when we have patients come into the psych ward that feel like they have bugs crawling up them, that's your tactile hallucinations. This is information that's conveyed to the brain when an object touches or depresses the skin. So if we pinch ourselves, we might jerk away. That is your tactile touch. Your 2-point threshold is measures of how far apart 2 touch points on the skin must be before they're felt as 2 separate touches. So your 2-point threshold, you might do this so you can feel 2 different. You might go in closer together where now it feels like it's just 1 point by itself being touched on your arm. There is a video on your slides on PowerPoint 31. On PowerPoint 32, our gate control theory, there is a video on it. It's kind of creepy, but it actually sums it up very well. When you fall and you scrape your knee, at first it might not feel bad, but then once you start calming down like your fight or flight, then it starts to feel the pain. So your gate control is an area in the spinal cord that acts as a gate of blocks of transmitters, pain messages to the brain. So it's blocking that pain receptors. And then once we calm down again, we start feeling the pain again. Sorry, I'm in the break room in here at school, so you might see people come in and out. All right, our perception. We have attention, prior knowledge, and your cross-model perception. So intentional blindness. You might be walking through campus on your phone, texting away or playing a game or looking at Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you're doing. And there might be a clown that just rolls on by you on his unicycle. Well, because you're so focused on your phone, you might completely not see the weird, creepy clown on a unicycle just flying right by you. This is your inattentional blindness. Your cocktail party phenomena is your auditory attention focuses on both on information that you personally seem meaningful to you. So say you're at a party and then you're on your own little group of people and you're talking to your own group of people, and all of a sudden in the kitchen you're like, what did she just say about me? Because you heard your name. So then all of a sudden your focus is going to go into the kitchen conversation, even though you're with your friends out in the living room. So that is your cocktail party phenomenon. We can hear things all over, but sometimes we don't act upon it. But when you hear your name at a party, it's usually not good, or maybe good. You never know. Okay, so your Jelly Belly experiment is what we are going to do today in class, which is September 5th, and your class starts in about 15 minutes. So we're going to go on in there, and you're going to do your Jelly Bellies. Your first 5 you're going to do on your own, and your second 5 you're going to do with a partner at your table. I will also be handing out your chapter 4 You Teach for your tables. You will be getting in your groups after your Jelly Belly experiment and decipher who's going to take care of what on your PowerPoint. You will be doing your PowerPoint as a Google Drive, and you're going to add me to it, and I will send you my email address so you can tag me. This is just to ensure that everyone is doing their part and they're doing what they're supposed to. All right, see you in a bit.